And how old were you when you started playing?
Super young. I mean, I guesstimate around, like a year and a half years old when, I was handed like a toy violin, but it was an actual violin. They just make them like super small. But I was playing, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star by age 4, no problem. And then just
Right.
moved on.
Okay. Yeah, and see, that was interesting to me because, uh, I see, well, I remember being in, like elementary school or
Mhm.
and even middle school, and people that, was in orchestra or in band, I would see them or whatever. But to learn that young, I would think like when you got into maybe fourth or fifth grade, you might have been much more advanced than other people. So how was that?
Yeah, definitely. Growing up, because both my parents play violin professionally, I definitely had the advantage over kids my age. But luckily, there's a lot of opportunities outside of school. I was involved with two youth orchestras growing up. I think I started youth orchestra at age 9 in Tampa, and then joined another one when I was in high school also. So you're more surrounded with kids who have had that, upbringing and musical, with a musical instrument at an earlier age. So it's kind of more even with, levels of playing. But I will say when I was in school, I had the opportunity or a lot of like leadership opportunities in school to kind of grow that side of me as a musician. So I kind of had both, which was good, more like all around musician for me.
So is that like, do you mean like maybe sharing tips or coaching some of the
Mhm.
people your age to?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm, in an orchestra, there are different seats you can sit in based on, if how essentially good you are. And then people behind you will kind of follow your leadership. So I had that opportunity to kind of sit in the front, and people would be able to like watch me from their playing, up through the orchestra. So that was cool. And then when you are in that leadership position, you can kind of work with the other students separately and kind of guide them. It's almost like a mini teaching experience too.
Right. See, what I noticed, I was an athlete, growing up, specifically playing basketball. But what I've noticed about a lot of different things and even life in general, I kind of always relate them to sports. Like when you talked about, you know, first chair and so on, kind of leading the people behind you. It kind of reminds me of a basketball team, maybe that point guard that's, kind of leading where the other players kind of follow and, set the example on what you want to do to be successful. Do you see like a similarity between that, Brandon?
Absolutely. I really do. Like even, brought up basketball, like within the team, but I also kind of relate it to baseball, like going up through like the minor leagues to the major leagues, kind of like that. Not only like in the orchestra, but like with yourself trying to get one of those like professional orchestral jobs, around the country. So there's different levels of orchestra. You can be in, the community orchestra, you can be in the regional, you can be in the first service, maybe orchestras that play once a month, or you can have that, steady full-time orchestra gig, which is super, super hard to be in. Very, very low chance that you're going to, get one of those spots, professional, AAA, double, single, etc. So I kind of think about that, with baseball and orchestra.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Okay, so you went through high school and I see you went to Stetson University. Is that right?
Mhm.
And where is that? That's in Florida? You said?
It's
Where is it?
it's a smaller private school. Some people know the school for their law campus, but the main campus is actually in DeLand, Florida. It's about halfway between Orlando and Daytona, but a little bit closer to Daytona. So we're almost by the coast, maybe about 30 minutes from the East Coast.
And how was your time there? Did you get it? Did you go there on a musical scholarship or anything?
I did.
Okay.
I attended school with a musical scholarship, and I had other opportunities to go to different and bigger schools. But again, what I mentioned kind of growing up, I kind of fit in because of more of that like big fish, accepting the leadership roles within my college too. And I, not saying that I started there, but I definitely worked up pretty quickly and got to experience most of my college time in a leadership role, which really kind of brought my confidence up as a musician to play sooner professionally. So I'm really glad I went to that college for that reason.
Right. And so even in college, I guess, again, from that young starting age,
Mm-hmm.
still on the next maybe couple tiers above those maybe came into college with you. Is that safe to say?
That's safe to say. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to say like, oh, I was better than everyone else, but in the orchestra, you can sorry about that. You can kind of gauge where you are, amongst your peers, and work together through that too. It's not all comparing, but it's a mutual thing.
Right.